Meeting is being recorded.
Morning, welcome to the Fayette County Commissioner meeting. Our first item of business this morning is social services. Please bear with me because I do have a hold, so.
Okay, so I brought you October's EBT and payroll, as well as November's EBT and payroll, and the case count up to today.
Now this says November and December.
So October here is October,
Yes,
and then yeah, we're a month behind.
sorry,
In this
I
case,
just
it's
got
about
the titles and,
yeah.
sorry. Okay. Anything different than,
Not to my knowledge. If there's anything exciting,
what I find interesting is that like several of these are quite a bit, well, I should say quite a bit, but like increased for the month of October and not November, that they dropped again in November.
somebody looking at specifically.
Food assistance, for example.
Team had it dropped in November.
Well, October was
167, 164, and then it went to 157.
seven.
Yeah, I'm looking to see if it changes in the case.
No. I just noticed it was,
And the case count for food assistance didn't change much. So I don't know.
just easy.
One less day, 31 days.
Well, they get the same amount.
30 days. in November.
They get the same amount. It averages about 250 per person in the household.
Per person.
And if they drop off in 1 month, it wouldn't matter because you get months.
You already got it.
Per month.
All right, is there any questions that you heard?
No, I can't worry.
I would entertain a motion.
I move that we accept the work from the Director of Social Services.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
Appreciate that.
So we will have.
And then
Oh, baby. Yes. Good night.
I'll hand off the paperwork. You need anything?
and then I have the case count up until October.
You did. It's your.
Oh, this is.
Yeah, that's your comment. And it kind of ebbs and flows, but typically the names around the same. I said the case count, I said it ebbs and flows, but that was, yeah, but typically remains around the same.
They look like we're steadily increasing from year to year too.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You should.
Thank you for sharing this.
Sure. And then I'll just have to do this. Okay, so I need to really advertise for a front desk, and I told you I'm gonna have to do daycare, so I wanted to advertise for half front desk, half daycare. I assume that, was gonna put that out there.
Okay.
I don't know what the rate of pay is because it's somewhere between case manager and really
Yeah.
just something easy. So, and then also the Colorado Workforce Center said they would like to come to the department in an effort to collaborate a little better. And they're like, they said they wanted to come 2 times a month. And I'm like, oh, I don't think we need you that much. But we could see, and they're like, will you charge us rent? And then I don't know. I mean, they can use our GED room.
So what is it they're going to do when they come? I guess?
Well, basically what the workforce does is helps people with resume, helps to find jobs, does some
The
testing.
regular work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the regular workforce.
Um. I mean, I personally don't have a problem with coming. The only thing I'm thinking is, it's hard to get into your offices, and so it might make it harder for someone to want to do that. But that being said,
I mean, they would just have to do the same thing and we'd call and be like, you have people here, you have people here, so. I mean, I really don't mind. I don't know if it'll be a long-term arrangement. I don't know how successful it'll
to
be.
me, it seems like a good way to at least have individuals coming or being able to kind of one-stop shop
Mhm.
kind of thing.
And it can absolutely pair with our workforce development, which is the TANF, to help people get jobs. So I'm hoping that that will happen. We can do them handoffs and make that part of their plan, because they have workforce development. Because I just want to make sure that you guys, were aware of it.
Yeah.
They're trying to collaborate a little better than they
Um,
have in the past.
And I guess the way I see it is that would almost be part of your program in a lot of ways to kind of assist you. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning.
So we're good with the yes.
You can take your Chris.
Yeah, like if you got a room already that you can use it,
Yeah, we have that GED room that is
and
not being used really.
it sounds like if it gets utilized, then it'll be
Yeah.
very useful.
If we help 1 or 2 people find a job, that would be a benefit, I think. So do you need these back?
No, those were part of your packet.
Perfect.
And the only other thing, I saw you had the holiday schedule. Could you send it to me because they want me to?
After it's been approved.
Okay.
I will. Yeah.
Just, okay, because they wanted it by December 24th, the state does.
Yeah. Oh, okay, oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, you know how it is. I'm only looking at the list.
Linda was very diligent about making sure that we got that because we usually have lots of questions.
Yeah,
So,
the hotline needs it, the state needs it. So we can put our-
okay. I'll send it to you after.
Thank you.
I will try to print that, contract that's
Okay.
been coming
Keeps it
out.
circulated.
Mhm. It keeps bringing, and make sure, because there's another one that says there's a change, and I'm looking at dates and stuff, and I'm not seeing the change in what I'd already signed. So I did not sign that because I didn't,
Yeah, you can print it and then send it to me.
I will try to do that, I just couldn't when I was.
Yeah, I just can't open
Out,
it because
so.
it's under your name and then it would send you the code.
So I'll, make myself a note.
Okay. All right, well, thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too.
We're going to go through the minutes. Just to update you, Ellen, but the CCAG letter of support I did write and put a copy up in my letters of support folder. I don't think I sent it to you guys, but. Do you want to do them individually or do you want to do them too?
I guess we do an individual.
Okay.
I moved to approve the minutes. At the November 14th meeting.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Okay, and then,
I went through these earlier, so I didn't see anything that stood out.
so,
We moved to approve the November 26th meeting.
second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Um. Bills and payroll, it's just.
Yes.
Good, good. I looked through some of it last night. but I'm gonna be honest with you. Did not have the energy to look at some of the rest of it. Whoa. She doesn't even know what this morning.
Yeah. Not even off FGO. So.
Yeah.
I didn't catch that one the first time.
If he comes in, that's probably some things that we need to address.
Yep.
Did we find out anything more about, the oaths?
No, we haven't.
I'm not sure.
Is that what makes some differences here?
Last thing he told me was he would have him here after the first of the year.
Yes.
Yes. We need them before then because we need to tell those people.
We need them filed before we.
This one.
Oh, I understand. Actually, man, both of those are on the cameras.
Mhm. This one is too?
This one
That is.
and this one.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh, yeah. I see what you're saying. Okay. Fine on this one too.
It's no different.
Shouldn't be.
I move to approve the payrolls for 11/29 and 12/11.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Once you date and sign, them, all date and sign.
Right.
Yes, it is. Do you still want us to set the February meetings?
I don't know, it's all, I have it on there. We wanna wait, that's fine with me.
I guess
Yeah.
two of you can set them or.
Are the normal first, second, and fourth Thursdays, there's no holidays in there anywhere, is there?
Not that we know of. Not in
No,
February.
February on
There's
Thursday.
not. Well, that's fine, that, yeah, if Jennifer has something different, that's.
And we can always change them later.
Yeah,
Okay.
Okay, so that would be February 6th,
13,
13th, and 27th. Is that correct?
yes.
Yep.
So why don't we
Yeah.
tentatively set those and then I just am uncomfortable setting dates for you guys.
Yeah.
So if you need to change them, Linda's really good about working and we can get that taken care of, but let's leave it that way for now. Okay. And just setting the calendar for the county holidays. Do you want me to read these just,
If you want, yeah, they're the normal ones that we always do.
these are what we normally do, but it'll be New Year's Day, Martin Luther King, President's Day, Santa Fe Trail Day for half a day, the morning only. Memorial Day, 4th of July, Labor Day, Columbus Day, Veterans Day, Thanksgiving, and the day after Thanksgiving, a half a day on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, and then New Year's Day, January 1st. After this is, or if it is approved, then Linda will make sure that our departments have that. And we'll get copies to Phil and,
And they got one, I saw
okay,
them.
perfect, okay. Perfect. Phil, do you see any problems?
the only thing is New Year's Day 2026 may not should be on this.
We always do that just
You always
in
do.
case, because people.
This time of year, people start freaking out of whether or not they're gonna have New Year's Day off.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Well, I think too, but
Yeah, we always thought so, but we've been having a lot of frustration from some of our employees, so we just put it on here as a given, so. But. And then, is there anything else?
The Christmas Eve half day is in the afternoons.
Right, I'm sorry, I
Yeah.
didn't mention that, yes, okay.
So last year's, except for with the dates. Magic.
Yep. Pretty
Okay,
much standard.
so is there a motion to approve the county holidays?
I move to approve the holiday schedule for 2025.
Okay, and I'll second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Thank you, Linda, for preparing that and Hannah, Patty. Okay. No, Jake is coming or not?
we got the agenda, I sent it to them.
Okay,
He says, yes. He's coming.
okay.
Yep, 76. I'm familiar with that meeting.
76 means en route.
All right.
Okay, let's go ahead and go to the Fair Board letters of interest. What did you still have those with you?
Whatever the other one was.
Okay. So I do know that we had, Jared and also, Corey Cook. And, I have visited with a couple of, well, I should say the extension office. Just a little bit. I have not had a chance to talk to any of the other board members. Have you?
No. Just wondered if maybe that's something we wanna let the new board decide, or, I mean, it's we'll be doing that much till January anyway, or till February at least.
I may not be a bad idea. What's your thinking? Bill?
I would prefer you didn't wait till the commissioners and taken off. You know, you're still commissioners, you can do what you want, but
Yeah,
I would prefer to wait.
probably a good idea.
So why don't we table that until after the first of the year? You could do it on your reorganization meeting, or you could do it the following.
First week after.
Yeah.
Whatever, or actually it'd be 2 weeks,
Why don't you plan on doing it the following week after you guys were
the following meeting.
inducted? Just because that first one, there is piles and piles of paperwork and stuff, and that might be.
Yeah.
So while we're waiting on Mr. Six, we do have some guests in here. Are you here just observing today, or are you here with a concern, or,
We have a concern about the senior center.
okay,
You just closed it down and didn't give us time to do anything, planning or anything else. I don't know your reason for closing it, none of my business, but my business is attending the senior center. And I've worked my tail off trying to keep it running down there. I've gone there day after day after day after day, every morning, trying to keep the exercise group going, and then boom, you close it. You don't know how hard it is to get people to come to these meetings after closing them down, or you wouldn't have closed it down. Now, when Sonora was running and she retired, make sure I got the right Sonora and Simona. Simona was running it and she retired. We continued to have our place open. Before they filled the spot. So I don't understand why you have to close it down like you're doing. It's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt us bad, getting people to come back. We need it. We do it for socialization big as anything. I mean, I can exercise at home if I really wanted to exercise real bad, but I'm trying to keep the center going. And I don't know, I just feel like you're throwing the baby out with the bathwater.
May I interject? And I think that this action, and we all agree with it, that you're punishing us for something that you have allowed to continue since March. So in my opinion, we don't need a director. We go in, we do our exercise, and we come to eat lunch. There's no activities for anyone. And the large group that left, they are not planning to come back. They have indicated that they have no desire to come back. So you're gonna still have the same volume of 6 to 7 people that are utilizing the center. And in that, as a result of that, why do you need a director? Why are you paying a director to do nothing all day long?
it is ours.
And, you know, the conflict resolution that you people have not addressed since March, and there have been a number of people that have been affected and hurt.
And we don't
So
know.
what kind of community is this? 97% or maybe 80% of the people living in this community are seniors that pay the taxes, county and city, and pay for your salaries. and for the sheriff who do nothing.
Okay, so let's address the senior center. The sheriff will address after a bit if that's what you are here for. I mean, if you think he's doing nothing, then you can address it with him at that point.
You
So
address it
let
with
me-
him over and over.
First of all, Benton County commissioners have been, they're talking about contract or conflict or resolution. And I assure you that there have been a number of documents put together trying to get to a point where we had a peaceful and workable solution at the senior center. It wasn't something that we just randomly did. So we felt it was best to give all of us a little bit of time. First of all, the initial resolution, putting the Senior Opportunity Center together is completely different than what we're really doing. That's because when it was originally started, it really wasn't even totally under the county. So you hired and fired your own people and a number of other things. State laws do not allow us to do that anymore. So if they're our employee, then we're the ones that have to do the hiring and firing. So there are a lot of pieces. Your bylaws conflict with what the resolution says, and it conflicts with what is really happening. So our idea and our reasoning for this was to make it so that we can have a little bit of time for everybody to regroup, make sure that all of our documents are put together like they need to be, and so that they actually reflect what you folks are really doing over there. And if we need a senior director, I don't know, that's part of that question of do we or do we not need a director? Do we or do we not need additional activities? Those are all things that we're trying to study with that. So this wasn't something that the commissioners randomly just pulled the rug out from under you. We tried to give you a couple of weeks to kind of give yourself some time to figure out how you might want to do some things or whatever. But for us, we also need to have some time to get things in line with our attorney, making sure that what we have in a resolution reflects what you folks are really doing.
Why couldn't you let us exercise and them do bingo and puzzles and stuff without somebody sitting, a director sitting in there? I mean, what difference does it make? She doesn't, whoever's there, doesn't interact with us all that much anyway. Everybody does their own thing.
Yeah.
Ron's down there, he does all the work that needs to be done. Are you firing him or laying him off too?
Not to my knowledge.
No,
Or then why can't we go in?
It's a half hour, right, maybe an hour most right there, that we're there in the morning
For
for
exercise,
exercise. That's it.
bingo, another hour. I mean, these things are almost automatic.
You
Other
don't
than,
need a director for us to do what we have to do. We're adults. We're at least over 80 years old. Well, a little under.
There is one lady down there that you really pull the rug out from under her, cause she's on a paid. She comes in and works, but she gets paid for it. Now with this 2-week layoff or however long it's gonna be, she has no job,
So are you talking about,
Christine. What's her name?
Martinez, I think.
She's through that senior program, the state.
I was gonna say, because that's not, she's not one of our.
No, she's
employees,
not.
so that I don't.
But she doesn't have anything, she can't go down there. She's hired to work there and there's not there.
Well, honestly, it doesn't matter what we do, what decision, it's probably not gonna make some people happy. We're doing the best that we can to try and regroup, make sure that we're following the laws about employment, those kinds of things as closely as we can. making sure that we don't put the county or any of you folks in some kind of danger. That's, not what we have in mind at all.
Why couldn't you
So-
do all this? And we can still go down there and do the exercise and the bingo and whatever else we want to do. I don't see why we would be bothering you at all to making them decisions.
And like I said, when Simona retired, we did that until they found another director or whatever the title is.
So how many years ago was that?
Oh my gosh, I don't know.
Yeah, and so, because I know in 8 years, just the employment laws and what our insurance allows and does not allow for liability, those kinds of things have totally changed. And I've only been in here 8 years, but I can tell you there's some major changes that have happened. So I guess that would be one of my concerns is, God forbid that one of you would push your ankle or pass out or whatever else, the liability to the county by not having someone there is a concern as well.
Going to that, and this other group, with Karen. Van Hagen, is that her name? They came in there and played dominoes and stuff after the center was closed.
After 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
And they stayed till 4 or 5 o'clock with no one there. And you all evidently approved that.
Because that's only been like a year and a half, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
You recall that?
Yeah, I believe that. And I don't remember the reasoning behind it, but. We did. Allow that on an after hours basis, so.
I
So,
don't see no difference in that. And letting us all go back in there and do whatever we do. There was no one with them. They'd lock the doors and just so no one could come in. But anyone knock on the door, they go over there and unlock and let them come in, so.
Is there available job description of what the director is actually supposed to do?
Yeah.
And what rules are
that's one
supposed
of the
to,
things that we're
follow?
trying to
are
make sure
you
that we have.
modifying it, or what are you doing to improve, to ensure our safety?
Yeah.
Because it's become a safety issue.
That is one of the documents that we
That
were,
we're gonna work on.
have to revise, or at least make sure it is. Covers what is the director is
Yeah,
actually doing.
there's
we-
there's,
Yeah.
a document that says this, this and that,
Yes.
and who that person is responsible to. Is the
Yes.
board, the commissioners,
That's
what is that, that back and forth, what do?
Well, that's why we're trying to get all of this back on the same track. So that one document doesn't say one thing and another one says something, or someone else goes wherever with this, okay? So that's part of what we're trying to do, as well as whatever it is that we need to do to make sure that our senior director can also be successful in their job, because if they're having you tell them what to do, and Dick is telling them what to do, and the commissioners are telling them, that's a zoo.
Right.
And so we're trying to get all those pieces and parts put together to make it a cohesive situation. Okay,
Do you have a timeline yet of reopening, or? What, or you're gonna allow the new commissioners to handle the problem that you have failed to address?
Now, that was one reason why we closed it when we
Closed
did,
it
was
when
so
we
that
did.
we would have time to handle it before the new board came on. The
So-
new members.
getting our documents done. We could probably do that in a couple of weeks. However, we also need to meet with some of the board members, some of the seniors, and try and figure out what you really want and what needs to happen in order for us to be able to be making this a successful situation go.
Yeah, you
So I
have to
cannot-
involve the seniors, excuse me, you have to involve the seniors. You can't just sit up here and make decisions when it doesn't affect you. Excuse me, interrupt.
So we appreciate your concerns. We understand that it has created some problems. What we're trying to do is get this under control so that our new set of board members, commissioners are not trying to deal with it. That's part of the reason that we're doing. But it also is one of those things that I cannot guarantee you that January 1 is gonna open. Right? Because of the fact that we also have to, if we decide we need a director, there's a, that we have to advertise, and we have to interview, and we have to train. And so there's a lot of little pieces and parts. It's not gonna happen in a week.
Are you gonna have a specific criteria for interviewing people? You know, have you worked with seniors before?
We have very specific questions that are required by state law in order for us to ask. And then we can ask a couple of questions about, more specifically about a job. Okay, so it's not, and I've been on interview committees a number of times. You ask the questions, you hope for the very best, but you can't be guaranteed any more than any one of us in here that everything goes as smoothly as you hope. So,
Well, I suppose you realize that there's several of them have quit, the seniors, and are meeting at the library to play their games.
and that's why we're hoping that we can fix things, make it comfortable enough that others will want to come. And that's,
Keep in mind, one of the biggest things we need is socialization. Because the older we get, the more lonely we are. We lose our loved ones, our family, our friends. One of these days, you're gonna lose me.
No.
we hope not.
Not yet.
We certainly hope not. But, there are a number of other places that, right now, the community center might be available for you to do some of that socializing, doing some of those things. We have to do some of what, we're not trying to punish anyone. We're trying to make sure that we have these things back in order. I'm sure that once we're able to open back up, if you guys liked coffee with the cop, I'm sure that Jake will probably work out something that would continue. There are a number of other kinds of activities. Maybe you'd like to know a little more about, what commissioners do, because we have a lot of hats that we wear. That there may be a commissioner that wants to come and give you a short presentation on occasion, some of those kinds of activities that might be helpful for you. There are a lot of things, but right now we can't do that when we've got, for lack of a better term, mass chaos going on. And we're trying to get this where we have some kind of cohesive atmosphere. Everyone's on the same page and we can move forward. And we're hoping to do that as quickly as we possibly can.
I hope you do it quickly, because the longer you close, the harder it's gonna get people back.
We understand that. And that's why we are working as quickly as we can. We've already visited with our attorney about trying to get a resolution that kind of deems what's really happening instead of what had been. And so it's not as if we're sitting, we haven't shut you down and just said, oh, well, we understand how important that is. Very much.
Was the board of advisors that they have, couldn't they do that without her or a director?
No,
No,
we don't have the. Per se, certifications and other things that we need.
Right.
In that direction that I have, they're not part of that. So that's a training.
Not
that we
only
need to
that,
have.
it's volunteer, those are volunteer positions. And their responsibility is different than the responsibility.
Well, isn't Jennifer gonna be responsible for that as the commissioner, because Kim would. Oh,
No,
that.
not necessarily.
No, one that's over it.
No, and Kim wasn't responsible. She just took it upon herself to help you. Okay, so she was not assigned to the senior center board.
Okay.
If you'll
I
remember,
understand.
I mean,
Yeah.
I've gone
It's all
to
three
some
of
of the board meetings.
I'm
Alan's gone to
responsible
some
for
of
that. Sarah.
So we didn't really have someone assigned to that part because we thought you guys were functioning fairly well until you weren't. Okay, and so,
Actually, we was functioning pretty good until you all are this new board of directors. That none of them went down there to see what was going on. They
Sarah,
just-
with all due respect, I would say, yes, they did. Randy, I know was there a number of times.
Yeah.
I know that Charles was there a number of times. I know Mimi was there.
They were there.
So they were trying to find out what you guys were doing. They weren't sitting
None
on
of
the
them came
sideline.
around and talked to us, so I seen Mamie one time talking to Ron. What about, I don't know.
But
And
you
then
two
she
were always in the meetings. Sharon had you two in the meetings.
Sharon
Every,
don't have
every
us.
advisory board meeting, you two were in there.
So,
So you're saying they knew what was happening and you had your input.
we didn't.
Okay, we're not gonna be able to solve the problem today. We understand your frustration and concern. I will assure you that the commissioners will work on this as quickly as we possibly can to get things squared away for you. Okay?
Well, on my part, I thank you.
And I don't think there's a good answer for anybody, but right now, we need to regroup.
Okay.
Agree with
Thank you.
that.
And, we talked to Robert,
Pardon me?
have we talked to Robert about you continuing your exercise classes at the community center?
Oh, no.
Nobody's talked to me about it. no.
I talked to you about, I talked to you about it at the fair, or at the,
But
They are
you
there.
didn't tell me, well, let's start, I don't wanna do it there. I'll tell you why,
me
if they do it
understand
like,
why.
because the way they did it last time when the COVID hit. They stored the TV in one room. Every day you gotta take it out, cross the hall, into another room, set it up, and they're not Wi-Fi or whatever it's called, you gotta play DVDs. And when you get through, you gotta break it down, hold, cross the hall into the other room and store it every day. And when you go over those bumps, where the door is, that TV's on this stand and it goes like this, and I'm afraid I'm gonna drop it. And I'm not gonna chance busting the TV and having to buy one.
okay, I would have loved to have, I should have known about that on that day.
So,
But if they had a room set up for us where they could leave it, that would be fine. But they use that room, which is a good room to exercise in, but they use it for other things and they don't want the TV stolen. So we gotta cross the hall. And then the DVDs are in a storage locker there. You gotta have a key to get into it, to get them out.
all right. Like I said, that is one option. It may not be ideal. And again, we will do our very best to get this done as quickly as we can.
Well, it'd be all right if they want to do it, but don't expect me to do all this every day, setting up, breaking down, put it away. I mean, they want to exercise at 8, they don't open till 8. We don't get in there, we get set up. By the time we haul it across the hallway and set it up, we've already lost 15 minutes. And then we exercise for 30, then we go back, well, we've got an hour in there to do a 30-minute exercise.
There are some things that we can visit with Robert Aguayo about a little bit to see if there's some ways to make that a little bit easier for
What
you.
about the armory? They're fixing it.
That's not, it's not
Yeah, it's
usable.
not,
right
it's
now.
not useful.
That's,
Habitable.
you know, I mean,
Doesn't
there's
have-
definitely electrical problems and there's no plumbing in there right now and stuff, so it would not be ideal for you.
Well, if they want to exercise at the community building, it's fine, but I don't want to be responsible for setting it up and taking it down.
Okay?
I'll go and exercise if somebody do
Let
that. work.
let us have, Doug, would you mind visiting with Robert and
Yes.
seeing if there's a way that we can help accommodate some of those concerns that you have? Okay,
Okay,
I will meet with you after the session. That's okay.
That's not the only concern we have, because if we put puzzles together. There's no tables over there that we can do that on. And then when we play bingo, if someone else is using that big room, they put us over across the hall in, where they have little computers. And we got about this much room to set up our cards and stuff. And
So nothing is going to be ideal. Even at the senior center, there's things that are not always ideal. But we will do the best we can to accommodate what we can. And there may be some things that we may not be able to do for a short time. Okay. And I know that's tough.
Okay,
Thank you. Thank you.
thank
got,
you.
got some of my feelings released.
Thank you.
Hope I didn't make anybody mad.
No, you're fine. We understand your concern. Yeah.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Okay, so we've tabled the, thank you, Dave. Yes, that's.
There is nothing friendly to investigate at the seniors. They're just.
They're struggling. They really are. I get it. And they're frustrated and it's okay. We'll move on. So Mr. J,
53 inmates.
53.
Probably 13 are bent. Our kids graduated the academy.
I saw that.
They take their post test on Friday. And yeah, tomorrow. So the 4 of them should be starting hopefully next week. They'll start on Monday and then we're gonna leave them on stipend probably until the end of the year. We'll probably give them a day or 2 off and then put them on for January. We're probably not giving them Christmas and Christmas Eve off. Just the
Well, that's part
academy.
of being a rookie is you get the short straw.
Well, right now they're not trained enough to actually work
Yeah.
Christmas.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
But that being said, they still get the short straw, so.
well, they did,
Me and Gene agree on
yeah.
Monica and I want the day off.
I volunteered to work. It's when-
Yeah, he's working Christmas. But we're planning on giving those days off. And then we'll bring them on January 1st and we'll actually start their training. Actually, the 30th, we train them with Clay High School. And then, they'll get started. So it should be nice.
I have a question. I'm gonna try to be as delicate as I can. Okay, it's my understanding that, you had a call the other day of an individual exposing themselves at the windows, is that
Yeah,
correct?
he was in his residence, standing in front of the window,
That is how it was described in the phone call.
And what they were told,
By.
the city, is that
It
right?
was by dispatch. That person called 911 because that wasn't a city code enforcement thing. So they called 911 or dispatch, and dispatch told them that you guys did not have the funding to investigate that and to contact the city.
Oh, I doubt that.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Probably not.
Do you have like a date, rough time maybe, that was called in, so I.
2 days ago is when Charles brought it to my attention. I don't know.
Yeah,
When the call came in, I can actually ask him.
If you don't mind, if you could, if you can give me a time, that'd be perfect. If you can at least give me a date, then I can look into it a little bit.
And then
I
figure out.
guess one of my questions is, because we were kind of just randomly discussing, that would be something that would be inappropriate and a criminal kind of thing, is that correct?
That'd be something we'd at least go
And
and have a conversation with you.
Okay.
For sure.
Because I realize that you can do whatever you want in your own home, but. You know, showing everybody. So that was my main question, is just trying to make sure that I understood.
Yeah.
about
Yeah,
that.
no, that's something we would definitely go have a conversation with. The only thing really
that I've even told the guys, hey, we don't go to that unless absolutely necessary. Is like, dog calls unless it's an aggressive dog. And then, somebody complaining about a parked car or a weed issue, not, the city decided that they wanted to do their own call. It's gonna let them do their own. But anything outside of like that scope, so to speak, yeah, it was at a bare minimum, we'll be going.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago, so if she wants to ask questions, I'm sure I'm free.
All right, we may have a question.
Oh, okay. John, would you like to
Let me,
address?
ask you,
Is it John
John Denicola,
Nicola?
It was named after the guy who.
How you doing, folks? Actually, I got a couple questions. The last meeting I spoke to the undersheriff about a couple things. First was a situation involving a former deputy or current deputy, Ryan Sellens, where he was arrested in Riverside, California. Supposedly, he was supposed to be picking up a prisoner out there, but ended up getting charged in the case SWF 2400939 in the Riverside Superior Court of California. And I got to be honest with you, these charges look pretty good. Let's see, assault causing great bodily injury, enhancement of that assault because it was great bodily injury, false imprisonment. Then we got, let's see, dissuading a witness and or victim, felony. He had PC 1203E3, which is like a felony something or other. I mean, the list goes on here, and I'm just curious as to how it is that you send a guy out to do a prisoner pickup, and he ends up assaulting another deputy, causing the deputy to lose sight in one eye, and nothing is done. I'm sure you guys are going to be looking at a great lawsuit there. And then we have another issue, which is in the last one, I also spoke to the undersheriff about CORA requests. Well, apparently Ms. Northrup doesn't seem to understand that she has 3 days to answer the request, and then she has an extension of 7 days. So when you make a request in November and we're in December and the request hasn't been met, how is it that the chief law enforcement officer is allowing his people to do this? I got to be honest with you. I'm kind of glad that, he's lucky that they had repealed 2472-206 of the Colorado revised statute, because had they not repealed it, Ms. Northrup, along with the undersheriff, would have to be charged with the crime. So
Yeah,
I'm just curious as to why it is that these requests aren't being answered, especially when it comes to the 1033 DRMO contract that the Benton County Sheriff has. We still haven't gotten a good estimate as to how many of those retired military vehicles they have. We don't know how many firearms that they got through that program. And we don't know how many sidearms that they got through that program. Seems to me that they're doing more in hiding things than they do in anything else. Not to mention that he had a request in there about the AC units on the top of the building, but yet when you fly a drone over the building, those AC units don't seem to be replaced, and there's only, I think, 7 or 8 of them up there. So we got some issues here with the sheriff's department that need to be addressed.
So, Mr. Denicola, if you would allow me for just a second, if you have a CORA request, our official person and holder of the records is our county clerk and recorder, Linda Moss. That would be where that goes to first, and then she channels that to the department as well as our attorney. So if you're not getting those answered, it may be because it fell behind the cracks. So I will ask you to, if you have a CORA request, that's the way it should be.
Ma'am, this isn't just one CORA request. It's not one CORA request. It's a number of CORA requests.
Okay, but again, it doesn't matter if they're not getting to the right person the first time, then that might be part of the problem. I don't know the specifics, but I will tell you that she is our person.
Well, I think the issue there, ma'am, is the fact that Ms. Northrup originally was answering the request. But the problem is she was giving me the request that the answers that she was giving, right, were a list of deputies in the department, some of which no longer work there, one of which just recently came into the department. I mean, we're not getting the true and accurate depiction of what's going on in the sheriff's department. How many deputies are there? How many are currently working? Their salaries. We're not getting who they are. Nothing. I mean, these are the things that should be answered with no issue. But apparently it's a problem for this department. And it's an ongoing problem because I brought this up at the last meeting with the undersheriff. And he said he was going to look into it, and I still haven't heard anything. And we're in December.
Okay, so I'm gonna let Sheriff Six address some of those questions that you had.
I thank you.
So I'm gonna need you to rephrase some questions, not a speech. So on the last one, the only one question I heard was on your core requests. Your core requests were answered. They were sent to our attorney and then they were answered. If they were not answered, then the way you asked for the information was not through the appropriate channels, which you have been advised to go through, the county clerk's office before. So we have answered some that were easy to answer, that our lawyer agreed to answer, even though they were not fed through the proper channel, we still answered those. If they were extensive, then you have to pay for those records. But to do that, you're going to have to formally request them through Linda.
Well, clearly, Jake, I know the law just as well as you do, okay? The first hour was free, and to be honest with you, the names of all the deputies and the salaries isn't a major ordeal. They could do that in less than an hour. You know that as well as I do.
You have that.
No, what I have is I have a list of deputies that are former deputies. You can't tell me that you're handing me a list of deputies when some of the deputies aren't even in the department anymore.
Like whom? Because when you got that was in October, I believe.
No. As a matter of fact,
Pull it up on Facebook if you want.
listen, you go ahead and you pull it up wherever you want. I'm telling you, that's not the request that was made.
Okay, well, we gave you the information you requested. Unfortunately, I'm sorry you're unhappy with it, but that is the information. Did you have
Well,
any other
that kind of
questions?
poses another question, Jake. Who paid the bond to get Sellen out of the Riverside County Jail? I mean, $25,000.
Absolutely no idea.
Really? You have no idea? Had nothing to do with the inmate funds? Nothing to do with the firefighter funds?
No, the inmate funds are one that Gene Sykes is the administrator of the inmate funds, as well as the treasurer. That would have been flagged. There is absolutely no way that money to be out of the inmate fund could have been used for a bond for somebody in California. That's not possible.
And where is Ryan Sellen now?
I don't know. I believe he works for a local shop in town, but he is a private citizen at this point.
Has he been decertified?
That is a post question, not a Jake question.
All right, thank you.
So Colorado Post is who decertifies people. We do not, Ryan does not work for us.
Okay. Thank you.
Do you have any other questions? Moving on, I found an indecent exposure, but it's showing at the jail in the last week. I don't see anything in the last 2 weeks regarding an indecent exposure coming to dispatch or. What is the question? Cause I just went through the reports. Gene, would you?
Yes, it was my understanding that Doug was contacted earlier this week. Is that correct? Earlier.
Just let him
Yeah.
give it that way first.
Yeah.
The closest to the source.
This one about the thing with the naked dude, okay. Yeah, the city called and said that somebody had called them to say that when they called the dispatch to get somebody to come out for the naked guy who was flashing everybody on the street, that dispatch told them they didn't have the funds to investigate that and to please call the city.
I mean, I can check phone calls, but I highly doubt our dispatch would say something like that.
And I
But I can check phone
don't
calls.
see anything on CAD regarding an indecent exposure.
Yeah, the only one, I thought it was the thing that happened in the jail.
Yeah, I just read that.
Yeah.
Right, so what I will do is I will get the time it would,
Time and
at
date.
least the date and hopefully the time as
Yeah,
well,
time.
that the call
You
was
can narrow
actually
it the
made.
day. I can go-
And so we can figure out what call it was and see what actually was said.
Yeah.
That's.
And the easiest way is whoever called, if you can get their phone number, we can look it up directly. All of our calls are recorded through the sheriff's office.
That would
If
be,
they
But I
call
can
that
tell you
line.
there was no call to a deputy, which means if they called dispatch, it did not go from dispatch to a deputy to get an indecent exposure that I can see currently.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was kind of my understanding of what.
Yeah, I don't see
They
it,
stopped with dispatch, so.
Yeah,
and I don't see that.
they've sent us out on stuff.
Yeah.
Around that
Yeah.
before we go out to that. That's a
It's
normal
possible,
fish
we'll
call.
look into it.
I'm gonna-
Highly doubt it.
Yeah, right. So I assured him that I would investigate.
Yeah, that's fine. Just give me a date and I'll get through the secretary system.
thank you, guys.
Next,
What else?
I stepped in it like, okay, perfect. Aggravating.
Construction's going good.
yes, it's going quite well. The ceilings are going up. Barring some luck, we should have F-pod up and possibly E-pod by the end of the year. The ceiling extensions to where if they do, if somebody does get in our ceiling, it's looking like they're not gonna be able to go anywhere. We have, air gaps, but they're under 3 inches. But that project so far, the third that was estimated at 30,000, I think, something like that, has cost under 3. Yeah, it might have been 60. I mean, it was an
Oh,
astronomical
yeah,
cost.
24,000 for the third.
Yeah, yes, 20, I believe, yeah, it was 24,000-ish for the third, and he's been able to do it, for under 3,000, and he has done the entire third.
It will get slightly more expensive for the rest because we have to pay.
Yeah.
So we're using out some materials.
Yes, Wick Turner had left some metal that he had used, and then we had some just over projects, and so we're running out of metal, but we may, instead of having the contractors buy them, I believe we can get a better discount from, Martin Pipe and Steel or Riders, and we may try and purchase it through the county rather than through the contractors and provide the metal and for them to put up, just to try and cheapen the cost.
Just out of curiosity, some of that fencing that Road and Bridge brought up to you, would that be something that you could attach to a metal above and below?
Or we could, it's just not as strong as we would like. It's bendable. So what we're trying to use, right now we're using steel, like the steel sheets, you can hit it all you want and you're not going through it. You could be up there for 6 days hitting it and it's not gonna happen. So, the fence, I don't believe would be as strong.
Okay. Just asking, because I know that there's probably way more than sufficient
There's a lot of it.
amount there.
Yeah.
And so I just was thinking that might be a material that we could use, so.
You, definitely.
Chain link is what it is.
Yeah, it's true.
But you know, a lot of times when you can tack that to top and bottom to a metal piece, you're in pretty good shape, so.
And where we're running into problems is there's not a lot to tack to the top. Without going through our roof, and we already know our roof is not in the best of condition, so we're not having him send us screws through it, through the wrong direction.
Good plan.
Yeah,
They're talking about insurance claims.
Oh, man, awesome insurance claims.
I got a response on one. We need to get a quote for the van. I just read that email
Wait
today.
a minute,
So, insurance claims. We have one for the transport van. Hit a Sally Port.
Transport.
so we went to Grand County. Grand County's Sally Port was shorter than our van. They did not realize that, and they drove the top of the van into the valley. We did not damage their Sally Port, just our van.
Hit a raccoon, hit a deer twice. Wasn't the same deer.
It's not all the same.
And a different car.
These are 3 different claims, and then I just sent the one to Sean for the jail court phones that somehow.
He beat them up through in the box.
Yeah, I don't even know.
What? The jail?
So jail court phones, they were broke. We had it all ready to go, we dropped it off. Doug took it to the post office from however it got from the post office to USPS. The phones are missing. The box was destroyed and an ice pack was put in it. I'm assuming to see if the weight would be the same. I don't know. I think someone went mail diving and started going through people's stuff, but so I'll put that one in. That's gonna be a fight between the insurance and USPS to see who pays for that.
It becomes we put it to the insurance and the insurance is supposed to back it out. But, I somehow, a box that I brought there sealed and all perfect with actual phones inside it, the jail phones to get fixed. When I mailed it out, they all just disappeared and the box was destroyed.
Yeah, somewhere in between Doug and the company we use for jail core. But on the sticker, it says damaged upon receipt or something like that from USP, from the postal service to the brown truck. UPS. That says at UPS is when it was damaged, so it's, I believe it'd be the post office's mishap. Yeah. So it would be my,
So you're saying post office then gave it to the UPS?
No, he's getting his acronyms.
Yeah.
It's all you.
Yeah, it's all the postal service.
yeah, sure, went to the mail.
It didn't go from the white truck to the brown truck.
Yeah.
White truck.
It went from the white truck to jail court.
Okay. Anything else?
I think that's only 3 insurance complaints that went there.
We got the
4.
roof. But, yeah, the roof one was approved, well, we got the first check and we get that work done, then we're supposed to put the rest in so that they can pass the rest off. I need to add to that though, for the damaged equipment from that leaked onto the equipment.
And you did get those quotes from Martin or?
I don't know if I have, I will check
He had said
again.
he sent them, but I will
I mean, he
confirm
said he
that.
sent them, I will check again.
Okay, but yeah, we'll have the sheet rock damage, which Eric's supposed to be doing. In the fire suppression room, the riser room.
Right.
So we'll get all of that too for insurance as well.
Okay. All right, thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate it. All right, have a good day.
A lot of work for me in this.
Good luck, yours.
Oh, yeah, that'd be a lot.
I think I can afford that.
That's beautiful.
I have some at the office, I'll bring some.
There you go. Yeah.
But I just got to there.
Oh,
High school
yeah.
project. This is my personal staff.
Oh, leftovers.
Anyway.
You asked Joey to come on in.
We're on.
Joey Dackner.
Yeah.
No, we're not there.
No, not bad.
No, I thought that was gonna.
Oh, they should have had an appointment.
Yeah.
Come on in.
I'm well. You guys sound like you have way bigger fish to fry than me just coming and saying hi and introducing myself.
No, we're glad to have you. In fact, we have a couple of guests with us today. Chris Olney is with, Colorado Springs Utilities, and then.
Oh,
Phil
you guys.
Hemphill
How you doing?
is,
Yeah, nice to meet you.
yeah, and Phil Hemphill is a new commissioner.
And I will probably be seeing
Joey
Gasnick. I know, and I probably will be seeing your wife later on today. Oh, she's like way my better half. Well, I knew that. Yeah, oh, yeah, well, good. Well, I'll tell you said, okay, so hi, I guess. No, I just, new year, new commissioners, new everything. Is this a good place to sit?
Sure, you're fine.
Yeah, anywhere? All right. No, just a new opportunity to come in, meet new commissioners. Say
Jennifer is
farewell.
not with us today, but she will be also a new Jennifer Schofield.
Schofield, yeah, I actually worked with,
I think you know her, right?
worked with her husband. I worked with her father-in-law for many, many years. Carl Schofield, father-in-law, at any rate. Also say farewell. Gosh, seems like you've
I've
been here
enjoyed
as
having
long
you
as I've
around.
known.
Good
Well,
one.
I've enjoyed being around. So I work for USDA Wildlife Services. And we have a cost share agreement with Bank County. We also have a cost share agreement with pretty substantial with Colorado Springs Utilities as well. And basically what my job is, what our jobs are, is to help the local communities anytime there's human wildlife conflict. And what that means for us out here in Benton County is different from what it means for the Colorado Springs Utilities guys, but the work's similar. Basically, what that means for me is in Benton County, and I also have a very similar agreement with Otero County, Crowley County, City of La Junta, and Army Corps of Engineers, so John Martin Dam. Anytime there's human wildlife conflict, what that means for me mostly is coyote depredation. There's an awful lot of livestock in southeastern Colorado, as you know. It's the backbone of the community, really. And a lot of my work, my time is spent protecting that resource, that livestock. In Otero County in the summertime, I do a lot of work helping protect agriculture. A lot of melon farms, melon fields, sweet corn, produce farmers. I was shocked to find out what coyotes capable of in a watermelon field at night. So, well, I mean devastating damage. They'll wipe out a small field of melons overnight. So a lot of livestock protection, agriculture protection, and human health and safety. It's funny because I was in Lamar this morning. I had an appointment over there. I had to get a couple stitches in my nose. I got hit with a post pounder last night after work. I'm lucky I don't have two black eyes. At any rate, when I was coming back, I got a call from the Benton County Health Department. They got a pigeon problem. So after I leave here, I'm gonna go there.
And Joey did help take care of a bad problem that we had at Public Health as well as the Armory
Yeah.
earlier this year, so.
Yeah, they had some bats up under the eaves and overhanging public health, which was freaking the public health people out because they'd show up to work and there'd be two bats. They'd have to step over to get in. And there was a bunch in the old armory and I think we got that pretty licked, but I trap a fair amount of skunks in the town of Los Animas throughout the year. Anytime somebody's got a skunk under their porch or under their garage or whatever that happens to be. Prairie dog work, do a fair amount of prairie dog work.
I've got a job for you.
You know, you and everybody else. I was actually thinking about it this morning. Everybody knows somebody who has a prairie dog problem. Everybody. Because that's just kind of the world we live in. But I do a fair amount of prairie dog work in Benton County. I'm waiting for things to thaw out. I've got some work for the hog farm. They've asked me to look at a prairie dog town. I did a bunch of prairie dog work I'm probably pointing the wrong direction. For Fort Lyon, that facility, they had prairie dogs digging up their cemetery and they really keep that national cemetery groomed really nicely. They got really upset when old prairie dogs moved in. So anytime humans and wildlife conflict, that's what we're here for. And the agreement is a cost share between the federal government and the local counties. So just because it's a new year and new faces, it's always good to come in and touch base. I try to stop in 2-3 times a year anyways, and just give you guys updates and what things, how they're progressing, what projects we're working, answer any questions that you have. I knew you were gonna have some new commissioners, so I bought a couple of new business cards for everybody.
Do you have help? Or are you by yourself?
So I'm the only one we have in Otero, Benton, Crowley counties.
I should go with you.
We do have, if you got work needs, let me know. Give my number to anybody. We do have a part-time guy in Kiowa County, Clay Davis. We are currently, I actually just got off the phone with Ron over in Powers County, Ron Cook yesterday. And Rob Evans with the city of Lamar. We're working on getting a cost share agreement set up with that entity as well. So Clay Davis, who covers Kiowa County, would take that Powers County as well. Because honestly, Otero, Benton, Crowley has me stretched pretty thin. There's not a lot of wiggle room for me. I couldn't pick up Lamar or the city of, county of Powers. So he'll probably be covering that. They had some beaver issues that we went and dealt with last spring. They had dammed up a drainage there right in the city of Lamar. And the water had rose up and it was, 5-6 inches below the sewer drain vent, something that if the water backed up in there, it was gonna back sewage out. So it was like, we gotta get in there and fix that problem. So we trapped those beavers, we removed the dams, we translocated those beavers. Most of the time, well, not most of the time, but we have a lot of options for what we do with the animals, right? Sometimes it's lethal removal, sometimes it's non-lethal removal. That beaver project for the city of Lamar was a non-lethal project. I caught a few beavers. I just quit point because I'm always turned around down here. I caught some beavers for the dike board just on the east side of town, just past the prison and north. I caught some beavers out of that there. They dammed up an underflow. You guys probably know about it. They dammed up that underflow to the river and the water was backing up on the wrong side of the dike. And so I had to remove those beavers and then remove part of that dam, and then City of Lamar came and removed the rest of the dam. But those beavers were also translocated. There's there's a big ranch down south. Smoky Rim Ranch is the name of it. It's just north of Kin. And they have Smith Creek running through their property. And they work with Colorado Parks and Wildlife to increase wildlife habitat, and they wanted to reintroduce some beavers onto that native territory. And just try to increase that riparian area and wildlife growth. And so we took a half a dozen beavers down to those guys. So sometimes we translocate, sometimes we don't, just depends on the circumstances.
How do you trap like coyotes? Is it lake trap or is it?
So because we work for USDA, US Department of Agriculture, we're federal, we virtually, well, not virtually, we do have absolutely every single tool at our disposal. Whether it's footholds, whether it's cable restraint devices, body grip traps, we actually have an airplane we use for aerial predator management. Sometimes it's just boots on the ground footwork, calling and shooting. Maybe it's using decoy dogs. We have everything at our disposal. So Colorado is a unique state because the state constitution, I believe it was in 1996, actually outlawed the use of leg holds, snares, and body grip traps. Well, you can still use those on an extremely limited basis. In Colorado, you just have to apply for what is called a 30-day agricultural exemption permit.
So you say that you are a little like me.
Well, if you called me to come do coyotes on your property, then you would just make a phone call to start that application process. And because I work so closely with Colorado Parks and Wildlife, I talk to those guys daily. They issue the permit. I go to work as soon as I get a phone call. So if you say, Joey, I got a coyote problem, I'll say, I'll be right there. On my way to your house, I'm gonna call game warden and say, hey, just so you know, Phil Hemphill called me in Bank County at County Road Z and County Road 15. He's got a coyote problem. I'm gonna go look at it. If I get there and I need to set traps, I'm gonna do that. Just so you know, I'm gonna have Phil call you to request that permit. And then I will already be on your property and I will already be placing that equipment, whether it's footholds or snares or whatever we decide is the best course of action. And then we just fill out that permit. I do the work and then we take care of it for you. And that's the way it goes for all property owners in the 3 counties that I cover. If somebody called me in Los Animas County and they're like, man, we got a problem. I need help. I'm at my wit's end. We would help them, but we would have to specifically charge that person. I would say, okay, I'd go to their ranch, I'd look at their problem, come up with a game plan using our process of determining what the best course of action is. I would write a contract. They'd have to sign it, agree to pay it, and then I would go do the work. And as soon as the work's done, we'd send them a bill. That's different here because we have a contract already in place with the county, and that covers the whole county. So anybody in Bank County calls me, they got the work. We'll come do it. We do charge for a few things though, they're extra because the cost of that particular project. We do charge extra for aerial predator management. It's just expensive to have that airplane in the air. There's no more effective tool for coyote management than that airplane by
I've
far.
seen that airplane before, yeah.
By far, there's absolutely no tool as effective. It's a very effective tool in our toolbox. It's not the only one. If somebody calls and they're like, hey, we want you to fly, I have to write them a contract. If they want us to blow up or remove a beaver dam using explosives, we have to charge for that. If they want us to treat burrowing rodents like prairie dogs with a restricted use pesticide, then we have to charge extra for that. And the reason we have to charge extra for that is because the cost of the restricted use pesticide is not covered in the contract with Bank County every year. If it was, grief almighty, it would, that contract wouldn't even touch it, right? Because that pesticide is extremely expensive. Same with explosives, same with the airplane. So
So are there certain times you're forbidden from taking the dirt?
you bet every one of those restricted use pesticide has a label that we have to follow to the letter. I mean, we cannot deviate from that label. And some of those labels lay out specific times of year that we can and cannot use it. The 2 things we use for prairie dogs is zinc oats, and weevil-cide. It has an active ingredient of aluminum phosphide, which when it mixes with moisture, forms a highly toxic gas. It's in that burrow system, so it's not dangerous to anything else, but it kills those prairie dogs that way.
So gasoline.
Yeah, I mean, that's one way to put it, you bet. We cannot use zinc oats after February 28th and before October 15th. It's all because of endangered species, other burrowing rodents, breeding seasons and stuff like that. We only want to take care of the prairie dogs. And if we do it after October 15th, but before February, that's when all of those other mammals have dispersed and we're only dealing with those prairie dogs. Weevil side, we can use year round, but we have to do a burrowing owl survey between March 15th and October 15th. I'm sure you're familiar with burrowing owls. Them little suckers are everywhere. Strangely, I mean, literally, you can go out and see thousands any given day. They're not hard to find. They're a state threatened species.
I don't understand.
I don't understand. I think somebody's just not counting right, but it is what it is. They're a state threatened species. So we have to do, if we're gonna treat prairie dogs with weevil side between March 15th and October 15th, we have to do a burrowing owl survey. Burrowing owl survey is we have to go to that prairie dog town once a week for 3 weeks between sun up and 8 a.m. in the morning. And we have to visually look for the owls. We have to listen for their calls. And if we find them, we cannot treat any of the prairie dogs within 1/6 of a mile of that day, of that burrow where that prairie dog, where that burrowing owl lives. So we don't do a lot of weevil side treatments during that time because the dang owls are everywhere.
Yeah.
And we just don't. Now, for example, Fort Lyon, we did some prairie dogs for them this year. We treated 3 little spots for them this year. 0 owls. We did our surveys, never saw any sign of them, never saw them during our surveys. We turned our survey paperwork in and we treated them and we got rid of them. So it worked out there, but kind of rare because the dang owls are everywhere.
Yeah.
Especially you get in any big town,
Right.
which have you ever seen a small prairie dog town? They all been. So.
I never have.
No, they just keep getting bigger.
They merge is what happens. The little ones connect to the big ones and they become a huge one. So that's a little bit about the prairie dog work we do. I mentioned beaver work. We do a lot, believe it or not. Every drainage, every creek, every river, every sluice ditch that has water in it has got a beaver in it in Bay County. No doubt about it. It's just a matter of if they cause a problem.
So on like on waterway, do you have to, does Corps of Engineers come into play?
Depends on if it's on their property. If it's not, no. If they're damming up the natural flow on a farmer's sluice ditch that, drains 5 or 6 farms into one spot and then goes to the river, we remove that dam. Nobody's concerned. There's no EPA, there's no Army Corps of Engineers, anything like that. We didn't use any explosives on the dam for the dike project I did just a couple months ago because of the dike. It's like, we don't want to be blowing anything up right here. Let's just hand jack these dams out. And they had some heavy equipment. City of Los Angeles had some heavy equipment. 3 or 4 guys with waders, thank goodness, because those beaver dams are, they're like moving a mountain sometimes. But high explosives is definitely the best way to remove those. I probably, within my 3 counties, maybe remove 30 to 50 dams a year using explosives after we've trapped and either translocated or removed beavers. We don't want to remove the dam until we got the beavers.
Right.
It's gonna go right back into the Yeah. So if I'm getting long-winded, shut me down and kick me out. I'm totally cool with that. But I just want to let you know, as always, I'm here for you. Ultimately, at the end of the day, I work for you guys. My #1 job isn't removing beaver dams. It's not trapping coyotes. It's not killing prairie dogs. It's keeping you happy. If you're happy, I have a job. So please, whatever you need, personally, professionally, my personal cell phone, my work cell phone, whatever it is, 24 hours a day for the commissioners, please feel free to call it. If anybody comes to you like, oh my God, you gotta do something about these pigeons, I'm your guy. Or, hey man, these stinking coyotes, you gotta do something about it, I'm your guy. I work really closely with Colorado Parks and Wildlife, really closely. Shoot, I teach hunters education for Colorado Parks and Wildlife in my spare time, and I work with them daily. So they know how to get a hold of me, you know how to get a hold of me, give my number to absolutely anybody you think that we can help. And it may be that I can't help them. I don't know. Maybe they've got 1,000 acres of prairie dogs and unfortunately it's too cost prohibitive to help them, which happens with prairie dogs.
Yeah.
Prairie dogs we have to charge extra for prairie dogs, right? If you have a 10-acre town, let's say it costs $1,000. I'm just pulling these numbers out of nowhere. If they have a 20-acre prairie dog town, you would think it would just cost $2,000 because it's twice the size of 10 acres. But it's a logarithmic scale for prairie dogs and it's steep and it gets steep fast. 20 acres might cost $4,000.
And you're not gonna get 100% kill.
It's rare.
Yeah.
It's rare. Anything over 20 acres is extremely hard to get 100%. Anything over 15 to 10 acres, hard to get. We do get them. I'm currently working on a project for the city of Aurora, as weird as that sounds. They own a whole bunch of ground in Otero County. And they just bought, thousands of acres of farm ground. And now part of their decree in purchasing that property is to remove the prairie dogs. So they're working with me to go in and do it. Well, they've got so many, they've got hundreds of acres. We actually set up a 5-year plan. And we're gonna go in there every year.
Yeah.
And hit them and work them. Otherwise, they'll take over and there's no stopping them. So
I've got a couple of questions.
name it.
In the last 6 to 8 months, have you been contacted by Big County Correctional?
Multiple times. And I've set up times and it's like, hey, because it's security clearance.
Yeah.
You gotta have this weird driver's license
Yeah. We go through that.
blessing to go in there, right? And I'm like, hey, here's what you need, here's everything you need.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Call me in a week or a month when you got it done, and I don't ever hear back. from
Yeah,
them.
I just didn't know for sure whether they were gonna get in touch with you or not. But
I have spoken with them.
Yeah.
I did some prairie dog work just across the road for Alex Netherton a couple years ago,
yeah,
and we kind of knocked them out of there, but I mean, you know as well as I do, it's a matter of time for their
Yeah,
back.
yeah.
So we want to stay on that Benton County deal, and I will.
Yeah.
I'm just about to get super busy. Calving season literally starts in
yeah.
2.5 weeks for me.
Yeah.
And then it's gonna be sun up to sundown virtually every day, working calving season in these 3 counties. So I'm gonna be doing nothing but coyotes till like early April. But yeah, then once that happens, then things slow down and we take care of some of those dumpster fires, and then melon season hits and get real busy, and then it slows down and we take care of dumpster fires, and then calving season again.
And the other question, maybe more of a Parks and Wildlife question, but we understand that there's been like 35 ferrets released here in Benton County.
Honestly, probably more than that, but yeah, maybe additionally, yeah.
Okay, and I had a question come up. If the landowner is out there shooting prairie dogs
Mhm.
and he hits a ferret,
He kills a ferret.
yeah, what is his?
I'll tell you what I know about the ferrets in Benton County, and then the black-footed ferret is one of the most highly endangered mammals in North America.
Mhm.
If you kill one, I don't know what the repercussions are gonna be. It wouldn't come from us.
Yeah,
It would be a Colorado Parks and Wildlife deal. I can imagine it would probably be pretty severe. Now,
yeah,
here's what I know about black-footed ferrets in Benton County, because we do all of the black-footed ferret protection in Benton County and Prowers County. There's a big ranch in south central Benton County called Split Ranch, Southern Plains Land Trust. I'm sure you know about it, right? It's like a return to nature. No fences, you know the place.
Yeah.
They have, I can tell you to the acre how many prairie dogs. They've got a little over 2,400 acres of prairie dogs on that ranch. About 10% of their place is prairie dogs.
Yeah.
We do for them, I know, I shake my head too, Gene, 'cause I'm right there with you. We do prairie dog protection on that ranch. And what that is we call it prairie dog dusting. We apply an insecticide to kill fleas. Fleas carry the plague kills prairie dogs, plague kills black-footed ferrets. So we go and I mean, that we drive thousands of miles on that ranch on 4-wheelers, putting Delta Dust as insecticide at the mouth of every single prairie dog burrow on that property, which is 2,400 acres, which on a 60 to 65 hole per acre average is tens of thousands of prairie dogs.
Yeah.
To my knowledge, in Benton County, and not to my knowledge, I'm pretty sure of this, that's the only ranch that's got it. And they've had I don't want to speak out of turn because I don't know really their program. I just know what we do, but they've had a very poor recruitment out of those ferrets. They're not surviving. There's a reason they almost went extinct. They're They're highly susceptible to predators, highly susceptible to predators. Coyotes, badgers, great horned owls. That's what,
Which are also out there.
and when you have, with all due respect to that ranch, when you have a ranch that is absolutely no hands-on wildlife management, predators, you lose a balance.
Yep.
And I don't know what the balance is out there, but I know when I'm out there, I see a lot of coyotes and I see a lot of badgers. If that's what's killing them or not, I don't know. I think probably so, but, so if you're a landowner, maybe that owns a property next to that ranch and one gets on your property and you happen to shoot it, yeah, I mean, there's probably gonna be some repercussions. Yeah, I'm sure there is. I don't know what those would be. I don't have any part in that. There are black-footed ferrets on the May Ranch in Prowers County, which is just north of the Arkansas, well, maybe 10 miles
At the
north of the
May
Arkansas.
Valley.
That's the place. And those are the only two ranches in southeastern Colorado that have them. There's Split Ranch and the May Ranch, and we do all their dusting. I see every prairie dog hole they got on those two properties. So, yeah, better question to like, how much trouble?
Yes.
Is there any plague in the area?
Oh, you bet.
Is there?
You bet. Good. I did. I'm with ya.
Right, Phil.
I did,
Just what I was thinking.
I did prairie dog work for the city of Aurora the last 3 years. And we had a town that we treated and we knocked maybe 60-70% back. It was a huge town. Went back next year and it was a ghost town. There's only one explanation for that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it happens. There's a place out on Highway 350, way south of Lahana, like almost at that Los Animas, Pueblo, Terrell County border there, right in the corner of the county. And, God, they had about 1,500 acres of prairie dogs and knock on wood, they got wiped out by the plague. So I'm sure, but the problem with the plague is it kills all the prairie dogs, but it leaves all the prairie dog holes.
Right.
So the next prairie dog that comes along is
It's a
like,
lot easier living.
this is perfect, you know, they're all, that's like the best place for a prairie dog to grow. So, the work we do for the city of Aurora, we actually use equipment and we flatten every single prairie dog hole. We use a skid steer and we're treating it and we're back dragging it and we're removing it off the landscape to keep them from coming back. But that's it's expensive. They've got a checkbook though, that's different than most, so they can pay for that, but yeah. Prairie dogs are a tough one, man. I get a lot of calls on them, but unfortunately it's just so cost prohibitive because of the labor involved. If we use legal side, we have to literally shovel every single hole, unless we can rent a bobcat, but that's $7,000 for a month, right? For me to go out and shovel 15 acres of prairie dogs, you gotta hire 2 people. You gotta hire me to shovel prairie dogs, and you gotta hire another guy to like hold a gun to my head and keep me shoveling them holes. So yeah, prairie dogs are a tough one, man. They just, dadgummit, expensive, and the little rascals are everywhere. They cause a lot of damage too. I mean, pasture's gone, right? What's valuable? Pasture.
They moved into irrigated farm and
Yeah.
rather than farm fields too. That's.
Cause it's disturbed soil, it's easy digging.
Yeah.
You bet a hayfield is just like they've made it, right? As a retirement. I took some prairie dogs out of a hayfield for a guy with my man's and all, and just a couple months ago. While it's still growing.
So Joy, we appreciate you coming in.
Man, yes, I know you're busy. Let you guys get to it.
Thank you, appreciate it.
No problem. I'll stop in and meet the new commissioners, so let you know, and
All
we'll
right.
go from there.
They'll be in after the 14th of January. So,
Okay. Dean,
thank you, sir.
such a pleasure.
Same here.
Such a pleasure, whether you work here or not. Need something.
Sounds good.
Nice to meet you. Phil, likewise, sir. Hey, likewise. Take care. Have a good day, guys. Thank
All
you.
right, take care.
Yeah, Lisa Schaefer and Jennifer Ward to unmute.
Okay,
I
and
think Sonora's here.
come here, Nora, come on in. Can we take just a 1-minute break really quick? Sure, would you stop recording for just a moment?
Yeah.
Please bear with us, guys, as we take a quick break.
The recording has stopped.
I guess they had to take a poop break, guys. Yeah, they go take a poop break. They'll be back. There's our friend Linda Moss back there in the green shirt. Hey, Linda. Listen, Linda. All right. It's been a strange meeting, right? So far. Let's see what is yet to come here after the poop break. Jake didn't seem happy to see us. And he was late. And whoever this lady is, she's going to tell us all about it. Yeah, poop break. Little poop break. Whew, she feels 5 pounds lighter. Here she comes. All right. Washing her hands. Linda's their clerk. If you want to request something, you just send it to Linda Moss. She'll tell you everything you need to know. Or she won't.
So we're talking about, I don't like sitting with my back to people. To me, it just feels rude. So I was trying to turn to where I could, be facing everybody.
This meeting is being recorded.
First of all, thank you for your patience with us. Sonora and Jennifer Ward and Lisa Schaefer are with us today to kind of give us hopefully an update. Is that right?
That we need to ask for access for them to iCounty.
Okay.
So it's
All right.
simple and
So I don't know who's in charge, but you guys can.
Well, what was that, Jen? I just said good morning, everybody. Oh, hi.
Morning.
So I can give a quick update too. So I know what this particular phase was, particular project is about 4 phases. So the first one being the PLSS, and that is complete. And so then moving on to phase 2 is for subdivision development to make sure that we can complete that. And that's where we're looking to get the access. So whether we can get access to the county system to look at those plat documents, to find the boundaries and see where the lots are and how they're broken out, or if we can get digital copies, if there is a document imaging system, something like that. We can, if you just wanted to send us those documents, we can certainly accept that. Or if we can get access to look those up ourselves, whichever works best for the county, that's where we're sitting. And then that would kind of go into phase 3 as well, where we would look to acquire right-of-way documents that the county may have recorded, which is slim pickings usually as far as those getting recorded. So
That are trying to pick through the most pertinent ones when you have so many,
Yes.
which is what I'm finding with the railroad
yeah,
documents. I'm trying to make a list of which ones are the most
Oh.
germane to what we're doing now, so.
Railroads are painful. I don't care where you're located at in the country, railroad documentation is probably the hardest to ever find the current and or accurate, or if even anything exists for it
yeah.
is half the battle. Yes.
Well, and the ATSF railway company bought up so many of the old railroads company and trying to figure out which tracks are still in use today versus what was accounted for back then, you know, when the railroads first started coming into the county. Yeah,
And do
I've
you have
been
any that
running
are
more than I
just-
ever wanted.
We feel ya. And do you have any that are abandoned railroad that just, you don't know who owns it because nobody's claiming it?
I don't even think some of those tracks are even in existence anymore. I think a lot of the deeds that I've read stipulated that if the railroad ceased to exist, the land just went right back to the original landowner. And some of it was deeded back, whatever. I still haven't got through all of it yet. I'm working on, I think the old Dodge City and Cimarron Valley one now. That's the last one I have to work on before I can piece it to what is now BNSF, but.
Okay.
And on mine, I know the one that used to run through my farm part of it, was deeded back to.
Okay. So, and there's a lot of that, especially up in that area, because the old Pueblo and Arc Valley Railroad ran through that area.
Yeah, there's
So,
a lot of research there. We really appreciate you doing all of that too.
yeah, I'm finding this easier than I think the roads are gonna be, so. But I'm working on it, so.
Are you talking road right of ways?
Mhm.
So you might talk to, in that part of it, you might talk to at least partially to our road and bridge guys. Cause I know on the east end, they have some maps that can tell you how much from the center of their road, how many feet they've got right away.
Okay,
So that might help you, Monty and Kevin.
okay. So I can get that together. Of course, I was out quite a bit sick, so I'm behind on that and I apologize. But we're at a point right now where we can't make any value changes on tax rolls, so I've got time now. Sorry.
We understand.
Let's see, what else? The railroads, roads.
Can we address the county access for subdivisions thing? So Linda, can you explain to us your iCounty? I know there's an iCounty, but can you?
The iCounty is a subscription-based website that I control. The county does not pay for that website. You can go on there and do a subscription and have access to it. You can do it daily, monthly, or you can do it for a whole year. All of the plats are not on there. So if you need to see plats, you have to tell me what you want, and then we have to look for them. Most of the newer plats are on there.
So help me understand, what would it typically cost to do a year's worth of subscription for?
A year worth is $3,300.
So we charge
Okay,
for
so-
tax rolls too.
So that might be something that we could discuss with Colorado Springs Utilities, since they are helping us get this lined out and set up, and see if that would be an acceptable cost. Would this be something we'd need every year, or would it just be that one time to get things kind of set up?
Depends on what they're doing with it.
Help me understand, Lisa and Jennifer.
Yeah. For us, it would be at this point, for this particular project, probably like 9 months, right? So, yeah, I guess you'd have to do the math, see what that would if 9 months or 1 year, whichever would be more beneficial. However, any continued maintenance, if we're going to continue to maintain as far as update parcels or anything else, then that's something that would be, beyond that year, something like that. Or if the county decides to take over their own maintenance, then it would be internal to the county to do that. So yeah, that would, I guess that kind of discussion would be beyond the end of this particular contract and then into maintenance and where we want to go with that.
Okay, so just because of the time element for Lynn's people to look that stuff up, because I know she's busy too. To me, it seems like it would be more cost effective and beneficial to ask Colorado Springs Utilities if that would be one thing that we could do to use some of that money for. I can't see them saying no, but we do need to ask that question. And Chris, who do I need to ask? Abby, who's the lady we've been working with? Kim Quartz.
Kim Quartz.
Yep.
I was sort of Kim or Abby, either one of those, have the
Okay.
authority to do that.
Okay. Why don't we have contact with Kim Quartz since she and she'll understand this part of it. Just ask her if that is a possibility to use some of that money that they have given for it towards that for a 1-year subscription. And then after that 1 year, then we can kind of decide if there was necessary. I mean, if it's just an upgrade once a year, it might be something that we could do work internally.
Yeah, and I'm in the process of uploading things that we can provide from our office that aren't anything that we've pulled off by county, none of the plat maps that we use, but just things that are in office type materials. So I loaded up a bunch of stuff yesterday.
Okay. Now, before I make this a definite thing, Linda, would that work for you then? Would that be an all right system to let them have their own subscription, at least for the year? Okay, I'm just concerned about you not being able to do your work because she's tied up with elections or whatever the heck is going on. So
Or,
it makes it
and,
hard.
the fact that she is regulated by the state, and I don't wanna, I don't wanna create a hassle for you either.
Okay,
So,
would you be able to?
I like you.
Would you be able to reach out to Kim this week?
I'll
Maybe
do
through
it when I
email?
get upstairs.
Perfect. And I would say all we need is just an email that says, yes, that would be an appropriate expense towards that.
Okay.
Or that they've authorized that as one of the appropriate expenses for it. Okay. What do you think, Calvin?
That sounds like the best way to start it anyway.
Yeah, and that would keep you guys being able to still move forward. 3,300 isn't that much, I guess, when I look at the whole year, but it also frees up Linda to do what she needs to do, and we're not trying to, I mean, you've got time right now, but she's still trying to clean up messes somewhere else or whatever. So that might be the best bet.
And whatever you can't find on there, if you call us, we can
Help you. Okay,
Yes.
so I'll assume that you guys can work together on that part of it once you get. And then Linda, would you be kind enough to show us kind of how? Maybe Sonora can figure it out, but if it was Jean, I would need some help just getting into the subscription and figuring out how.
You do it right there on the website.
Okay, okay,
And for the yearly one, I just need to check. And then we tell the vendor to set it up.
perfect. Okay, so as soon as we have some answer, then we'll run it through and see what we can do.
I'll email her when I get upstairs.
Perfect. What else do you need from us to try and make this as smooth and quick as we can for you?
That is
I think
honestly
that-
the big thing. Yeah.
Okay, so this would allow us to at least get through phase 2 a whole lot sooner,
Yep.
even if it's 8 or 9 months. Okay, and then the right-of-way documents, you're right, they're gonna be hard to find exactly what all of them are. But you might be able to, like I said, with the road and bridge, they can pretty well tell you like each county road. And even like if, for example, in McClave, we thought one specific road had 100 and it really doesn't. And so that came from research, but they've already done the research, so there's no sense in you redoing that.
Yeah.
If we can help you from having to do that.
I'll reach out to them today as well.
Okay. Okay.
And then for phase four is doing the parcel updates. Will that subscription to iCounty give us access to potential deeds? And will we be able to search that by like parcel number?
No, our system doesn't have anything to do with parcel numbers. That's all the assessor and treasurer. But anything that's recorded is on there.
Okay.
Yeah. And you can always ask me for our office for the parcel numbers that you're looking for, and we can get that
work it
information
out.
to you. So, yeah.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you. And Linda, just for my, are you clerk? Are you recorder? I'm just curious.
I'm the clerk and recorder.
You get both. You're dual duty. All right. I was just wondering because I knew since you have the iCounty system, I wasn't sure which department that was being administered from. Thank you.
I do everything in the Will County.
I don't, anything else? I can't think of anything right now. I think
Nope,
that's,
I think that was our first thing. So yeah, when we can get access, we can get those subdivision, that piece done pretty quickly. And then the right of ways, as we know, are going to take a little longer, but that was the longest piece of the whole project anyway. So we knew that going in. Yep.
so I'll reach out to Kim and the road and bridge crew today. And hopefully I'll have an answer before the end of next week.
Perfect. Perfect. And then, I'm assuming you're taking time off during the holidays, so you're going to be gone like.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
I've got time to make up.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So we can certainly stay in touch. I know our offices are going to be closed those 2 days right after Christmas, but yeah, we'll just stay in touch. Okay.
All right. Sounds good.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Have a great rest of the day.
Appreciate it. It sounds like we have a relatively easy solution and we're going. So.
Right, I'll go get on that.
If for some reason CSU is not accepting that, let me know. We'll talk about plan B.
Okay.
Okay. So, because you guys need to be able to have your own access.
Yeah.
It doesn't work to have this department do your, and.
Well, they can't use our office access, so.
Right.
You know, and
it's just too.
They shouldn't have.
No, it's too difficult. So. Yeah. All right. So that works for both of you ladies and we can go in there. Okay. All right. Good. Thank you. Yeah.
Whoops. Let's learn more about ferrets.
Well. Love Joey to death, but he is a talker.
Take care, everyone.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Spano. What
Hi.
can I do for you?
We don't wanna take a lot of your time.
Okay.
We just wanna come in and we wanna thank the county commissioners for the last several years. You guys have been greatly supportive of everything we've done on the fire and the ambulance side for Los Animas and
for Hasty.
and for Hasty as well. And we've had much better working relationships with the county commissioners than we've ever had. And I truly appreciate the efforts that you guys have put out. I want to thank you very much for that. I also want to encourage the oncoming county commissioners so that we continue with the same relationship, because we're all in this together. So we do have that. And secondly, we have just one question about licensing, right?
Real quick question, did you have a chance to look at that?
So I did not look at it, but I just came back today. Today's my first day back.
Okay.
So I see zero reason. So here's what the situation is they need we license once a year.
Yeah.
Okay. However, the state is going to start licensing July 1.
Yeah.
So they are respectfully asking both departments if they can have a continuation, because otherwise December 31st, their licenses out. So they're asking for a continuation or an extension of 6 months. That would be June 30th, basically, so that way our time that we're certifying them is the same time as the state is certifying them. Is
Yeah,
that?
that in a nutshell, that's right. A couple of things
Yeah.
would be, one is that June or July 1st is when they're actually gonna start. We'll probably not actually get our license till.
We're planning on doing October in Hasty.
Yeah, and I said, whatever, we're gonna try and do them both at the same time. That's just for ease for the state and for ease for you guys. So we would ask you to go ahead and continue to license us until such time as the state license comes in. And then we're gonna ask you to continue to license us every year. The county did opt into having that control where they can say who can run and who cannot run.
Right.
So we want to make sure that we've got that. So when we say July 1st, that doesn't mean that we're gonna be completely done and up and running July 1st. But certainly by October, and we may even get it sooner.
Yeah, hopefully.
And a lot of that depends on the state, but
Yeah.
the state has about 300 services that they have to go through. They'll hit the large ones first. They'll hit the intermediate sized ones, that's us, next, and then they'll hit the very small.
Which is you.
Yeah, but we're gonna go ahead and try to, like I said, because we've got to put this to the county commissioners every year. It's gonna be easier if we take what we do for the state and submit it. That way everybody's on the same playing field.
Right, and we have all the same things.
So we're hoping
Does the
that we
state
can.
require you to have the DOT on your
Yes.
physical and stuff too?
Yeah, you still have to have a DOT for all the ambulances and stuff, so, that'll be in there. There's a number of other things that we've always done, we've never reported, but it's gonna be reportable now, so, and there'd be things like, things that are on the ambulance and stuff like that. We give you kind of a generic list, and it'll be a much more accurate list, and capabilities, and then we also have to have, we also have,
Operations and all that.
yeah, and we also have to add employees. So you'll have a list of employees and certifications as well. Okay. And then, of course, we are, I'd like to tell this group that, we generated a request to the state. Our RETAC, which, we are a regional, I always do it wrong. It's Regional Emergency Trauma Advisory Council. Our RETAC, which covers 6 counties, we put in for the state, and we were recognized by the state as being the #1 RETAC in the state of Colorado, which is huge.
If I could just make a real quick little comment about that. So what happened, I'm gonna say about 6 years ago,
Yeah.
for a lack of a better term, all heck broke loose.
Yeah.
And we found that the director at the time was spending money incorrectly, a number of other kinds of problems. And RETAC, Southeast RETAC was actually defunct. I mean, it had, it was shut down, and it also was in a deficit. And so that's when the commissioners were brought into it, and the gentleman at the time just mentioned it to me, and I went, "A what?" And so it didn't take very long for this. There was one commissioner from each county. We have become the financial piece of that. So RETAC is still allowed to do the things that they need to, but when they want to spend money, they have to come to the financial board just to kind of monitor that. So we went, or RETAC, I'm proud of them, went from being seriously in the hole to about 250,000 to the good right now. So they have done, and what happens with RETAC is we receive money for, through grants for our director, who is,
Brandon Chambers.
yes. And then they also receive funds that are for regional projects and funds that are specifically for each county. And in Benton County, we have 15,000 that comes.
Sure.
And Pitt County has chosen to evenly divide that because while they have a little more of a call volume, they also have more opportunity to get money than
Yeah.
what Hasty. And we felt like that apparently was the most,
Yeah, and that has worked so very well.
It's been working out great.
and then also the other thing that we did is we set together paperwork that said John can't just randomly, or Lexi can't randomly buy things. That's why those are coming to Pitt County Commissioners. We sign off, and then if it, as long as it meets all the criteria through RETAC. So I am proud of these guys. It made a big change. I guess it's been fun to be a part of that and watch how hard they work on a lot of different pieces and parts, but so that Phil has a little more, and you too, Chris, a little bit of that background as to why being the number one, going from, you guys are about to be, yeah, you guys are about to be shut completely down on your not getting any money, to making huge changes over those 6
Yeah,
years.
we
I
went,
think we've done
we
well.
went 5 years without that funding because the coordinator told us that that funding was no longer available and he was actually.
Spending it all.
Are
you required to spend that money each year, can you say, build up the fund or something?
So that's a yearly spend money that we have to spend. Normally, it has to be spent on equipment. It can't be spent on supplies. It has to be spent, it could be equipment or education. We often use it for education too. That's what we usually do. So we will present to you. That usually comes in July or August. We will present to you guys letter saying, here's what we're gonna buy. And then we have a form. It's a form, RETAC form that has to be filled out. Here's what we're gonna buy, and then we'll ask for the board to approve it and sign it. Once they've signed it, then it goes to the coordinator. He previews it, looks to see if it's right, and then the membership of the counties, there are three members for each county. They vote and say, yes, this is a good thing to spend the money on, or no, this is not. Once that's approved, we go out, we make expenditures. When we've made the expenditures and paid for them, we submit back to RETAC and they go ahead and reimburse us the money. And so, like Gene said, it's $7,500 is the way we split it. I've been doing this for a long time and it's always been that way. And yeah, the East End doesn't get nearly as many calls as we do up here, but like Gene said, we have a better opportunity because of the number of calls we do get to draw income. And I have to commend Lex because she has finally pushed the fire board to start billing on the East End. And so now they are generating some funds that's going to help improve that service over there. I can't say enough about the East End Hasty-McClave ambulance service. 3-4 years ago, we were spending lots of time going and doing mutual aid for them because they didn't have anybody. And they
Now
have,
they're helping you, aren't they?
they've helped us.
More than they've helped them this year.
Yeah, they've helped us more this year than we've helped them. And they've stepped up to the plate, with under Lex's, guidance. They've got a number of classes going. They have a current EMT class going right now. And they've got, how many providers you got?
We have 6 providers currently, but we have 8 taking the class,
Awesome.
class.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So it's, what they're doing today is amazing. If you look back to what they were doing 3-4 years ago. So this is our future with medical service, I believe, is bright in this county. So again, the
Back to
main,
your request, what do you need from me? From us,
Yeah.
if we decide, do you need a new certificate that extends it? Or do you need just a letter?
you write a little letter that says that you'll extend it until
I
our
need
state
a
license.
certificate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because you're.
I need to get submitted to Medicaid so we can continue to bill.
Okay, so you need an extended,
Yeah.
And I think probably us too.
It wouldn't hurt.
Yeah, just go ahead and give us.
let's
a-
just do both, okay?
Yeah, because the state is covered, as it has us covered until
state's good till the end of, till January or December 31st.
Of
This year?
Of this year, yeah.
I gotta look at that ticket again. I thought it was longer.
Because if they're gonna not, then that means that you guys are gonna have to recertify
Oh,
it
yeah, no.
again.
No, it's
No,
not.
I'm sorry, the state is good for 2 years,
Yeah, that state's good for
I'm
2
sorry,
years.
yeah.
But we're coming to
County
you guys
is.
every year.
but I do need one from the county for.
Unless Alan or if you guys say it's different, then we'll do it differently. That's the way we've done it in the past and the way we would like to continue doing. You know, I feel very comfortable.
So let me, because I've done the certificates in the past, let me ask, how long do you want me to make this extension for?
I would say December or June 31st.
June 30th.
30th, yeah. It's like, wait, we need to-
Wait a minute, so,
Because
but you're not gonna go on until August or October. Right?
we're scheduled for October, but we could call and say, hey, let's do it in July.
Yeah.
Like as long as I get.
And I don't know that we'll get it done in July, because I think they're gonna have a pretty heavy load.
Okay, so let me ask you this. How about if we say through October 31st, not to exceed?
And
October
if it,
31st?
and if it does come up that it doesn't work, we'll come back to you and say, hey,
Then you
this
can-
is where we're at, and we'll ask the new group of commissioners what they want to figure it out.
Okay. So I would be willing to do that. I'll just put it in and that it's been extended.
Yeah, just an
So I'll
extension.
just do the same thing, extended certification, not to exceed October 31st, 2025. Okay, and then if you have some mess up, that way you've got those 9 months, almost 10, to kind of get yourselves squared away.
Sure.
That would be great.
I appreciate it.
No, I greatly appreciate it.
And you guys got my number.
Okay, and since Phil is here, do you have any objections to that?
That's fine.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay,
All right.
And-
Thank you very much.
and give me a few days, because
Yeah.
like I said, I just got back.
Yeah.
And I got a full load today. so-
I have to have it submitted to Medicaid by the 31st of December, so we have till the end of the month. Even if it's the 31st, I can buy and pick it up, that works.
Okay, all right,
So that's-
I will get to it as quick as I can.
All right, that's fine. I appreciate it.
You bet.
Thank you, guys.
Is there any other business yet? You had some
I
other
do.
business.
There is one contract from the Prowers County Public Health and Environment, so they can continue doing our food and safety, water quality, zoonosis, and all those other programs that they do for our behalf, and they would like that.
And where does that money come from? It seems like it came out of, did we take it out of sales and use, or did we take it out of, somewhere else?
That I do not know.
Can I go ask?
Yeah, yeah. I think she might actually be listening. Yeah, I don't know if she dropped off though. She was listening until minutes ago.
I noticed that.
What is it for?
Let's see, there's a whole list, pass that on down
It's like
there.
that health.
It's all on the front. Yeah, page there, in the middle, there's little dots. Yeah. We got done with the budget, I went over there and I saw that I had already gotten the email for the agenda, so I knew that I was late.
And it's 3 24 hours before.
Yes.
months ago, we paid out of sales and use 5,100 and some odd dollars.
And this one's 5403.
And the year before it was 90 something, 9,000 something. But we just paid this 2 months ago, and when is this one? I mean, is it for the
Yeah, it's
26
for
year?
January 1, 2025 to December 31st, 2025.
So I'm wondering why we didn't pay that last one. She's pulling the invoice right now, so let me go check, but I think we better check that before we.
Yeah, yeah. I thought I remembered Jake talking about it here. Oh, Jake?
We're still in it, but there's a pause for them. Okay, for what? Okay. I'll have to, yeah, let's see when it gets here. It sounds okay for the moment.
Okay, the last one paid was for the 2024, so this will be for 2025. But my question is do we want to pay that right now, or do we want to wait till January 1?
All right.
Well, it is for 2025, so it would probably be best to,
If we waited till January 1 to pay that. Or are we signing this contract and then the amount,
I think they should shut invoices us later.
but this last year's invoice didn't come until. Yeah, there's no invoice in here, is there?
No. Not that I remember seeing when I read the.
You didn't receive it.
I did not.
Oh, I thought you said it was 54 something.
yeah, it's right at the top.
Oh,
It's
54
right there.
Calendar year. Approximately 64 hours of service for any environmental services rendered.
Yes.
So we're thinking, this is a contract and we're thinking that they must bill us later. But the problem is that bill had to have come way late. That was in October.
October 7th. Well, it's invoiced, but
Because this isn't until next year. I don't wanna pay for it right now.
Right.
yeah.
But could you maybe, put a ticker in there that after the first of the year that we just,
Yeah, if I have a whole stack of stuff, I'll add it too.
sorry. Maybe we should make sure that you have a copy of this so that you can just attach it with it. Yeah. Okay, let's do that. So I don't mind signing this to kind of be, but when the motion is made, we need to have it coming out of sales and use tax.
That's where it went, came out this year. Okay.
And on the monthly things right there. After
Okay, so I move to approve contract with Powers County Public Health and Environment for calendar year 2025. In the amount of $5,403. And that it be paid out of the sales and use tax after the first of the year.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. All right, so today is the. Make sure I wasn't signing in somebody else's spot over here.
Yeah. There are the two spots, I just marked the page, not the. I don't have the sign here.
That's part of it. Okay, any other business that needs to come?
That is all I have.
So before I forget, Chris, what else happening in Colorado Springs?
Madam Chair, thank you for recognition, Mr. Stump, Commissioner-elect. Great to be here. The biggest item I want to bring before the board today is the proposed revisions for existing revegetation statute. On 12/9, we received the latest revisions that will be presented in the upcoming legislation starting January. As a utility and a water user in the valley, we do have a few issues with the current revisions. Just for the awareness of the board and possible discussions. First and foremost, we encourage the board to read what is out there now as a possible revision and be open to discussions and opposition or amendments as needed. So items that we see a possible discussion and amendments are, we'd like to see more alignment with the state water plan, which should be available immediately, or water should be available immediately and not subject to revegetation statutes and success. The proposed legislation should be clear that water court takes jurisdiction in the absence of other land use authority. Revegetation standards and approaches should be self-sustaining and based on local expectations as defined by a reference area concept. We want to maintain jurisdiction should not exceed 20 years. The proposed in this revision is 25. And then we're asking for credentials to be identified for these experts that are requiring. And such relevant degrees as licenses being prevalent in those discussions as well. Basically, Colorado Springs Utilities, we just feel that control revegetation requirements from the water use transfers as best practices should remain at the county level and authority. That's kind of where we're standing right now with that, and I'm just open to any discussion and conversation we may want to have over the next couple of weeks as this bill is being proposed.
Okay, who is planning to run that bill?
To be determined. Ag and Natural Resource Interim Committee was the original committee that proposed the bill. I would assume someone from that committee will be running that bill. Once we have more information, we'll let you guys know, but we're still waiting to hear.
You said we received something on 12/9?
The last revision was 12/9. Colorado Springs Utilities has been asking from the Department of Agriculture, who's kind of spearheading how this bill's being written, send us a copy in 12/9.
I did not receive one. Good.
I will forward that copy to the board.
That would be awesome. Thanks.
And would you also be kind enough to give us just a real quick written brief about the things that you would like to see change?
Absolutely.
You're telling me, but I know that, I'm gonna be honest, I still got jet lag today, so I'm trying to kind of, you know, but I think it would be helpful for me to be able to digest it and really look at what it says versus what you're suggesting.
Yeah, we can do that.
So,
So do you have an email county yet?
I don't think so, but I will soon, are you fixing up my county email? No?
I have one set up for you, but it's, you're gonna be on your new computer and I don't think
Why
you
don't you
can
just email me?
utilize it quite yet.
and you might also give him Jennifer's
For now.
email as well.
Oh, Jennifer, yeah, her regular email. Schofield for commissioner.
Yeah, it's a long one.
It's a very long one. I got one for Jennifer as well.
But if you would send that to them, because they'll be the ones kind of, but I would certainly like to be involved in knowing kind of what you're doing.
Sure.
Contacts. Jennifer.
And Chris, my apologies, I should have called on you way earlier.
No, don't apologize. No apologies.
Oh,
Had a
that
little
was,
chaos this morning I wasn't really planning on, so.
That's okay.
the one that's not the one she wants.
So John left his cat dirty.
I'll
Uh,
put it in their box or basket back here.
contacts. There she is. There we are. Schofield for BC Commissioner D1.
just spell it out for me just to make sure.
SCOFIELBFORBCCOMMISSIONER D1.
Slow down, you're going way too fast.
Commissioner, COMMISSIONER.
Okay.
D1. No, D is in dog, District 1.
Oh, just one.
Yeah,
Okay.
at gmail.com.
At Gmail. All right. Yep, I will make sure you all receive the last copy that we did
Thank you.
on the 9th and a summary of our review of it.
Okay.
We're open
Sounds good.
for discussion. I'm sure there'll be plenty of opportunities coming up in the next legislation to testify as needed.
Sure. Well, it's not just this, but lots of other things
This
too.
is just the beginning.
Yes.
Later on, their emails will be their first and last names at bentoncounty.net. Bill.headbill and Jennifer.Schofield.
There, we just
Yeah,
talked
we
about
were
that.
just talking about you that we were gonna keep it.
I am a gentleman of distinction. Once you get to 75, you sometimes forget things.
It happens before that.
All right, any other business? What have you got?
Just go to the work session on that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fine.
And I think that's all I've got then.
Okay. All right. If there's no other business, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you all for joining us this morning on Zoom. And thank you, gentlemen, for being here. Appreciate it.
All right, folks, appreciate you.
The recording has stopped.
Next time.